Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of Health 360, your go-to source for practical, reliable information on all things health and wellness. This week on the show, a deep dive into why sugar-free may not always be your healthy option. We're also exploring that one big question: why aren't Indians having as many kids as they used to? And why are so many couples opting out of parenthood? A special conversation with Dr. Manikam, who hosts a very popular podcast called Medcom, blending medicine with comedy. I'm Sneha Mordani. This is Health 360. Well, when we see the words sugar-free on a product label, it's easy to assume we are making a healthier choice. After all, reducing sugar sounds like a smart move, especially with all the talk around sugar and its links to weight gain, diabetes and other health issues. But here's the catch. Sugar-free doesn't always mean healthy. Many sugar-free products are loaded with artificial sweeteners, additives and chemicals that can affect the body in unexpected ways. Some may disrupt our gut health, increase cravings or even trigger blood sugar spikes, the very thing they're supposed to help avoid. In trying to cut out sugar, we may be trading one problem for another. I explore. Well, the cookie is crumbling. The oh-so-sweet cookie is crumbling. The World Health Organization has stepped in now and said, "Bahut hua, tax sugar," a health tax which is going to raise the prices of sugar products by 50% in the next 10 years. The fact that the World Health Organization said we should be doing this to sugar and to tobacco tells us something, does it not? Moving on. A little about sugar and not a very sweet tale I have to tell. It's an admission that I cheat myself with sugar. No secret really nowadays. It still is the new poison. I know it. Bring in sugar-free products and sugar additives. And what is the fact? What is fiction? You'd ask. The vilification of sugar as a source of all ill health has seen a surge in demand for sugar-free products, with companies rising to the occasion with gusto. In 2019, a study by market research firm Mintel discovered that almost 3 in 5 Indians wish to consume less sugar for a healthier lifestyle. And a 2025 survey found a third of Indian parents seeking less sugar candy for kids. The fears associated with sugar are not unfounded. India is the diabetes capital of the world. A study published in The Lancet in 2023 found over 100 million Indians to be diabetic and another 136 million as pre-diabetic. Today, sugar is associated with disorders of practically every part of the body: feet or eyes, brain or bones. Following global trends, the Indian food industry is investing heavily in low-calorie, low-GI products, from mithai, ice cream, jam, sauces, bread, to alternative sweeteners like stevia, erythritol and xylitol. All come in sugar-free avatars. According to market analysis by the EMA Group, the Indian sugar-free market, comprising of sugar-free and diabetic-friendly foods and beverages, was worth 9,586 crore in 2024, is projected to reach 22,082 crore by 2033. But just as the fat-free health fad of the 1990s and before, when in spite of painting fat as the villain, obesity rates continue to soar, the obsession with sugar-free foods can have unexpected effect. Experts have warned about it. Everything we consume contains some or the other form of sugar. Now, the chemical form of sugar, whose structure comprises a molecule, each of fructose and glucose, which is broken down into components in the body. To function normally, humans need glucose. When the intestines extract glucose from food and release it in the blood, it's known as blood sugar. If what one eats is broken down quickly, it spikes blood sugar, which puts pressure on the beta cells of the pancreas that create insulin, which is the hormone that moves glucose into cells to create life-giving energy. Now, such pressure eventually results in the cells in the muscles, fats and liver not responding to insulin, with the extra glucose staying in the bloodstream, leading to what we know as diabetes. Sugar substitutes and even natural sweeteners like honey, jaggery, dates, monk fruit, and agave nectar should be counted as part of a daily glucose intake in spite of the low calories. Many endocrinologists and nutritionists worry about the overconsumption of sugar-free products, which contain high fat and calories, chemical sweeteners, and or natural sugar substitutes. It will create what is called a positivity bias, a halo effect around particular sugar-free products. However, even if a product is transparent, restraint has to be exercised, is what experts say. And we have nutritionist Ishi Khosla now joining us. Thank you so much for speaking to India Today. So, talk to us a little about sugar additives, given how popular they're becoming nowadays. What are the risks really, associated with these sugar additives that everybody seems to be using now, even if they're not diabetic?
Yeah, you're talking about sugar substitutes, Sneha.
Yes, yes.
Essentially, we divide them into three categories. One is the non-caloric sweeteners, which are synthetic, and one is natural non-caloric sweeteners, and then we have just the regular sweeteners, like we spoke about jaggery. So the
Right.
non-caloric chemical sweeteners, chemically derived sweeteners have been in the market for many years, started from saccharin, aspartame, sucralose, etc. And there are some others. These definitely were, they came in with a lot of promise, but they came with a baggage, which we realized only later. And there were risks involved, but generally everyone said in the quantities that they are approved, they are safe. But the fact was read differently. And we found that these were harming us more than helping us. And
Right.
in ways because they were disturbing the gut microbiome. And that when we understand the science of the gut, that any disturbance in the microbiome is going to be causing metabolic imbalances, which meant that patients were finding that their blood sugars are higher. And I have patients who came and said that they're not having these regular cokes, and when they have the regular coke, their sugar is lower than when they have a
Oh,
sweetened tea. Yes, and we had
oh,
no
okay.
answers back 25 years ago, and we thought there was something wrong. But now the science has caught up on that, and we understand why that happens. So anything which is disturbing the gut microbiome negatively is going to be a problem, and all of these chemical-based ones are in that category. And
All right.
so the promise was in the natural ones, which are non-caloric. Therefore, stevia came into fashion and has been promising. And now we have monk fruit and another one, which is just a new kid on the block, is allulose. Allulose is also derived from a natural source, and it's not
Okay.
chemical laced. And these have many, many hundred times the sweetness of sugar. So they are very good options for people. And I think the whole world is today troubled by this issue of cutting back on sugar. So these do seem promising because they don't carry the baggage or the negative impact on the gut microbiome. However, the ones which I just mentioned, monk fruit and allulose, are still, they are being studied for their long-term
Right.
impact. And yeah,
I also want to ask you about desserts. Many desserts are marketed as sugar-free, So should we be going for them and, without guilt-free, without any fear?
you know,
What's your point of view?
Sneha, this tag of sugar-free can become very erroneous and very,
Misleading.
sometimes, yes, sometimes we don't realize what the label is saying. If it is carrying, say, sugar-free which is with brown sugar or with jaggery or something else. It's certainly, or with honey for that matter. It's got the sweetness, but it's being labeled sugar free. And then sugar free
Okay.
can also mean the, like the sweeteners I spoke about, which are chemicals, which are also detrimental. So I think reading the label beyond just the tag of being free, we have
Okay.
to take the trouble of looking at the ingredients before we make a choice. And
Okay.
jaggery is, of course, unrefined sugar, part of the the first process where the refining is not complete, and it's a much more nutritious option to white sugar and to for anybody who wants a sweet taste, because it
Okay.
carries with it not only some nutrients but certain antioxidants which are very precious for our health. So coming long story short is that looking at natural sweeteners is way better than chemical ones, and of course today we
Right.
have non-caloric ones as well, so go for those.
All right, I'm going to thank you, Ishi Khosla, for joining in with your views and that information really on what should be the options for those people who are not keen either on consuming white sugar or, of course, are diabetic and should not be consuming processed white sugar.
Absolutely.
Thank you. The standard cliche of Shadi Fir Bache is becoming outdated for many dual income, no kids couples in India. An increasing number of couples are opting for a child free lifestyle out of choice. People have second thoughts about bringing up kids. How will this decision, though, impact our demography in years to come? Now, in spite of India still being the most popular country of the world. The latest United Nations Population Fund's 2025 State of World Population Report, The Real Fertility Crisis, talks about India remaining the world's most populous country, yet our total fertility rate falling below the replacement level. Well, this report is not advocating panic, rather calling attention to unmet reproductive needs. It talks about how millions are unable to achieve their desired fertility goals. The solution, it adds, lies in greater reproductive agency, the ability of individuals to make free, informed choices about sex, contraception, and starting a family. Let's take a look at the numbers. 1.46 billion is India's population. We're more populated really than China. 1.7 billion is the peak population projected in the early 2060s, before gradually declining. India's fertility rate stands at 1.9%. It's a measure of average number of kids a woman is expected to have in her lifetime. However, 2.1 is the replacement fertility rate, the average number of kids a woman needs to have to maintain a stable population. India's fertility rate has been declining steadily over 2 decades. What does this mean? Population will start to shrink. Right now, the population is still growing because there are many young people. But over time, fewer births will cause the population to stop growing and eventually decrease. More older people, fewer children are born, the number of older people will increase. This puts more pressure on healthcare systems and the working population that support them. Fewer workers in the future. With fewer young people entering the workforce, it could become harder to find enough workers to keep the economy strong. Government focus may shift. Policies may move away from controlling population growth. Instead, focus on encouraging families to have children, improving elderly care and supporting working age population. Now, for example, in 1960, one woman had roughly 6 kids. In 2025 in India, one woman has an average of 2 kids. So why aren't Indians having kids? Based on the survey done by the United Nations Population Fund, this is why Indians are not having kids. 38% of them cite financial limitations. 22% of them cite housing limitations. 21% of them say they're not sure about their employment. There's insecurity on the job front. 19% talk about partner pressure. 18% of them speak of lack of quality health care. 15% are unwell to have kids. 14% talk about limited access to pregnancy-related care. 13% cite difficulty in conceiving as the reason. Growing anxiety about the future, climate change, political and social instability are reasons as well. Meanwhile, a look at India's map will give you an idea about high fertility rates in some areas. In Uttar Pradesh, Jharkhand, Bihar, Meghalaya and Manipur. And joining us today is a very special guest who is blending medicine, knowledge around medicines and comedy. He is the host of popular podcast, Medcom. Like I said, blending medicine with comedy. Dr. Pal Manikam is now joining us. Thank you so much for your time. I want to begin by asking you had in fact a few days ago spoken about India's obsession with Dolo, which got everybody just cracking up. The very fact that you said that Indians are taking Dolo like it's Cadbury gems, this is one pill for all warning that you had issued in humor, but it's an important message that you had tried to send out. Talk to us about what you wanted to convey then. What made you put this out to begin with?
So Dolo is nothing but paracetamol, and we are
Yes.
seeing a lot of patients taking paracetamol for everything. Even if they are solo, they take Dolo. So Dolo will not cure your relationship problems. It will it will lower your body temperature, it will relieve your body pain. But the problem is there is an other harmful side to it as well. If you take more than what your liver can handle, we are seeing actually liver damage from excessive Dolo 650 use.
Something else also that you've been speaking about, as far as your own social media handles are concerned, about how carbs are being made the big villain here in our journey to weight loss. You said that your idli has been demonized like never before. Talk to us about why all carbs aren't necessarily bad. There are just so many things that one needs to keep in mind. Who really is the big monster here?
So the biggest monster is the amount. That is the most
Right.
important thing. It's not the carb, it's not the fat, or it's not the protein. 20, 30 years ago, we said that fat was very bad, so everybody went on to this low-fat diet. But now it's very clear that when the carbohydrate content is more than the required amount in the body, the excess carbs are converted into fats. And we as Indians, we have a genetic manufacturing defect where that excess carb conversion into fat goes directly into your belly. And this is something that is very unique to our ethnicity compared to other ethnicities. So we should be very careful on the amount of consumption of carbs. Carbs per se are not bad.
All right, carbs per se not bad, the quantity needs to be kept in mind. Very often we've seen a lot of people and actors like Paresh Rawal have spoken about it and others also that they are drinking their urine. A few days ago there was a bizarre video of a woman putting urine in her eye. I want to ask you about your thoughts of people doing all kinds of things with their urine.
Right. So, there are some religious beliefs to that. I'm not talking about or supporting or declining those beliefs. But from a medical angle, urine is a contaminant agent, right? So we are removing, it's a toxin that we are removing from the body. And the kidneys are designed to do that. The problem with this is that we have seen patients actually in the ICU drinking urine, having this multi-drug resistant organism, and on ventilator. To be honest, one of the patients actually died. So when I see this part and I'm seeing somebody teaching their young kid to drink urine to avoid all the problems of junk food, I am not able to comprehend on the both sides. So we need to understand all these kind of therapies are not without any risk. You will really have to think through this, and then maybe if you can come up with a common solution that all these will not help you. If you can just sleep for more, if you can exercise a little bit, that will give you a lot more benefits than all these kind of treatments.
Right. Last few days again, we've been seeing a lot of conversation around anti-aging products, therapies, treatments, the obsession with this after the death of a popular model and actor also, and it's been linked to many anti-aging products. First of all, I want to ask you, is there a product or is there a therapy that can stop you from aging, that can slow down your aging? Does that even work?
If I find something like that, I would retire. There is nothing like that has been medically proven. The one thing that has, clinically proven is taking care of your health. It is very clear that if you have increasing body fat percentage, and for all the listeners, it is absolutely important that as an Indian community, we should really focus on the body fat percentage rather than the body mass index. This is the most important message that I think you should take from this conversation, is that there are like some internal body fat deposition that is happening. We call it as visceral fat. If a person is obese, we say, he is big. When a person is thin, we say he is healthy, but that is not true. We see a lot of patients with this category called skinny fat. They look skinny, they are fat inside. They are thin on the outside, fat on the inside. We call it as TOFI, T-O-F-I. Thin on the outside, fat on the inside. And this is very particular for Indian community, where the fat is being surrounding the heart, liver, pancreas, and all the intestines. This is called visceral fat. As the visceral fat increases, the aging increases. As the visceral fat decreases, the whole health improves. Your aging, maybe you look a little bit more young, but that is the only thing that we should really focus on. Rather than all these unproven anti-aging techniques, it has not been medically proven with evidence.
In one of your videos, you speak about fermented food. Tell us, why do you think this is a very good thing that all of us should be investing in? We should all be consuming fermented food. What are the benefits of this food?
So, as a gastroenterologist, I do research with gut bacteria. And when I say gut bacteria, there is like 100 trillions of bacteria, mainly in the large intestine, colon. When we are talking about gut, it is not mainly the stomach, it is the colon. So, when somebody eats, they need to eat for two people. One, for yourself, and second, to feed all these good gut bacteria living in your colon. So, fermented foods is one of the options where you can supply the nutrients to all these bacteria living in your gut. So, you can increase your balance of good gut bacteria over bad gut bacteria. That is one of the most beautiful thing. And India is one state where there is multiple traditionally available fermented dishes locally available in each and every state. That's the beauty of our culture.
Right, some, very frequently asked questions. A lot of people trying to lose weight are drinking lemon water in the morning. Tell us, will that help us lose weight?
Drinking lemon water is only good for the lemon vendor who's giving all the lemons to you. I will actually support that argument by saying that, I do intermittent fasting. And one of the things that helped me to extend my fasting window in the morning is by drinking lemon water. Because, it doesn't have any calories, you don't add any sugar to it. So it will extend the eating windows. I'm sorry. It'll extend the fasting window, so you can extend maybe like an hour or two to enjoy the extra hours of fastings. I have used that multiple times in my own weight loss journey.
All right. Diabetics ask this question because mango season is here. So many of them, of course, want mango. Tell us, what are the best diabetic-friendly fruits? And what about mango? How many mangoes can a diabetic eat? Should a diabetic be even thinking about a mango to begin with?
So mangoes has been villainized a lot, which is true in one way because mango, banana, all these are very rich in carbs. As we talked about, carbs are not that bad, but carbs in a diabetic patient can increase your sugar levels, which your insulin may not be able to handle because your insulin is already damaged. So that is the concept. But does it mean that you shouldn't eat mango at all? Absolutely not, because mangoes are excessive. Mangoes are extremely good that they're very rich in complex carbs like fiber. So your gut bacteria in your intestine or colon will need that as well. So for all my patients with diabetes, what I used to say is, don't take the whole mango, just take half the mango, mix it with other protein, like paneer, grilled chicken, or something like that.
Okay.
Because when you pair mango with high carb food, that is where the problem is. In South India, it's very common to eat curd rice with mango. It is a wonderful, powerful combination, and it is delicious. So one thing we can probably switch is if we can pair the mango with some protein-rich foods, and then you take the curd rice separately sometime later, that may dampen the effects of mango.
All right. I'm going to thank you, Dr. Manikam, for joining us with your views on a range of health topics that are trending. Everybody needs to know about what is the fact, what is fiction when it comes to our health. Thank you so much for throwing light on that.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, that brings us to the end of this edition of Health 360. We hope you enjoyed watching the show as much as we did, putting it together for you. These reports and much more around health, wellness and fitness can be found up on our website. That's indiatoday.in. You can download the app as well. Our social media handles carry all these reports. That's Instagram, Twitter or X, YouTube and Facebook. The hashtag is Health360 and Health360 Plus. Do not forget to like, subscribe and share. Thank you so much for watching. Bye for now.